Hi everyone, my name is Jenny and I will be starting my architecture and landscape study at the University of Sheffield this September. I'm currently doing a gap year and I wanted to make this video because when I was applying, I couldn't find many architecture portfolios for undergraduate universities in the UK, and I also want to encourage students that don't do DT or art as an elective. Don't be put off just because you don't do these subjects. I didn't, and a lot of my architecture friends didn't, and we still got offers. So in this video, I'm going to show you both my physical and digital portfolios, and because I don't want this video to be too long, I'll make a separate one and talk about how I planned the whole thing and some tips and advice I picked up along the way. I could also make videos about my personal statement or the whole university application process if that's what you want to know, so comment down and let me know what I should talk about next. This video is based on my personal experience. Everyone does their portfolios differently and it should reflect your own interests and passions. Also, I was building up my portfolio during my gap year without any help from my secondary school or sixth form. Well, another reason is that because I went to boarding school and it was just miles away. But if you're still in school, I would definitely recommend seeking help from your art or DT teachers or just some friends that are currently doing art or architecture in universities. Well, they're more experienced and I believe they would definitely give you some good advice on what you should do or how to improve your portfolios. I grew up in Hong Kong and studied the local curriculum till year 10, which is why I don't have any GCSE equivalent qualifications. After that, I came to the UK to do my A-levels. I did business pre-U, Chinese, economics, and maths. I got A-star for all of them except maths, and I missed out by 1 mark, so I'm still salty about that. But, well, after that, I went to the University of Warwick to do PPE for 1 term. Quickly realized it wasn't what I want to do, so I spent half a year exploring my options, and in summer 2023 I decided to reapply and go for architecture, and that was when I started building up my portfolio. I applied to Cambridge, UCL, Manchester and Bath for the architecture course and Sheffield for the architecture and landscape course, and I got offers from Sheffield and Manchester, but I withdrew from Bath because, well, they were not giving out any response until late April, and back then I just wanted to get a good accommodation for Sheffield, so I gave up Bath. And for Cambridge, I got to the interview stage, which was in person for the college I applied to. But, well, ultimately they rejected me, and I'm pretty sure it was the task that I had to complete before the interview that I messed up really badly, and then I asked for some feedback from them. But, well, out of my surprise, the feedback they gave me was quite encouraging because the portfolio part was the one that I worried the most, but they really liked my portfolio and I was really happy about that. And, well, UCL was, well, I just wasn't qualified enough and they rejected me because my portfolio wasn't good enough and I didn't even have an interview. So if you're applying to UCL, this is a failed attempt and maybe you could use it as a reference and try to do better than I did. All of these schools have different application process, and Cambridge and UCL have the most complicated ones, so I've elaborated that and put them into a table so you can just pause and have a look at the requirements of the schools. I will be showing you both my physical and digital portfolios, but let's get started with the digital one because that's the one that most schools require, and, well, the requirements are different, but I'm using the UCL submission here because it has the most page allowance, so I included most of my work in here. On the cover page here, I put one of my doodles because I don't want to waste any space, but the main focus is to write whatever they told you on the requirement sheet. For me, it was the name, the course, and the UCAS ID. Write it clearly and not have any spelling mistakes, because that's the first impression you get. This is my first page with the title Reality and Imaginary. I wanted to have eye-catching pieces that could show them I have the skill set to do both technical/observational and creative pieces. I chose to draw the Xizan Monastery in Hong Kong because I have visited there and I love traditional East Asian styles. That was my way of showing the research I've done on architecture and also my passion for it. My second page is about live drawing, which is something that a lot of schools and art schools recommend doing. Because it's time that you're not drawing from a photo, it's actually very hard at first. Especially I've never learned anatomy before. If you have a look at the one on the top right hand corner, it took me 5 sessions to get to that level, and I still can't draw faces. But, well, I used a few different media and captured poses of both female and male models, so you could see how I was practicing and progressing along the way. Next is a collection of collages, and I included an idea sheet, or what people would call a mood board. Basically a range of stuff related to the word I chose, in this case fragments. I made these collages both physically and digitally, and I got my scraps from magazines and newspaper for the physical version, but if you're doing it digitally, it's literally so easy. You can use any photo editing apps or even the Apple photo cutout feature. Just mix and match what you have, play around with, what you have in hand, and you could even add some illustrations. I added some lines if you can see on the ones with the hands. I was trying to make the water effect, and yeah, just have fun with it. I named the next project Materials and Textures. It is important to demonstrate your ability to think in 3 dimensions and your ability to use different media to create things. I put some pottery work here to make up the 3D elements I needed in my portfolio. The true reason was that I could not think of what kind of models to make, and I signed up for this pottery class for fun at the time, and I was just thinking, why not put it as part of my portfolio? And the clay plastic cardboard thing on the right was made to create some man-made and natural textures by using some materials that are commonly used in architectural models, in this case, which was clay, plastic, and cardboard. And I was just trying to form different textures with them. My city and culture project was inspired by an urban sketching workshop that I attended in the summer. I walked around the neighborhood and took some photos of things that you can commonly see in Hong Kong, but not necessarily somewhere else. And I also made another collage of significant buildings and figures of the city. On the next page is more an extended project of traditional culture. Because I used to be a Chinese dancer, it meant a lot to me and it was quite a big part of my life. I did the acrylic painting on the upper left corner to show the composition and use of color. The background was kind of spinning to sharpen the character's movements. In the sculpture you see in the middle, I personified the Chinese character Mo, which means dance. And the draft on the bottom right was how I tried to balance between making the dance sculpture and forming the word at the same time. Well, the true reason, again, I cannot think of a model to make, and I ended up spending 15 minutes and a single wire to make this, so please don't be too harsh on me. Next, we have some digital designs that I made throughout the years. I used Adobe and Procreate to make these for my own projects, my class in secondary school, and some societies. It's not very technical, but it gave an idea of the basic computing skills and how I used my creativity to tell the stories of these societies or the ideas they were trying to deliver. So I was adding to the range of skills that I need to be an architecture student. Then I have my travel journal and a watercolor piece inspired by my trip. You can have a look at the full travel journal on my Instagram. And it was the main sketchbook that I brought to my interview, and the interviewers actually liked it a lot. For the drawing on the right, I think it was not the best, but since I felt like my portfolio was lacking some human figure drawings and some original pieces, I still added it to the theme of traveling in Japan. Last but not least, photography. This is mainly about composition and how I see spaces, shapes, and patterns. I took all of these during my trip, but you can literally just walk outside to the street and take photos of some cool and unique features. Usually, you won't have to make an extra ending page, but for this particular submission, I had extra space, so I put some of my doodles to end it. It's also similar to the one that I put on the cover page, so I was maintaining the same style throughout my whole portfolio. Now that we're done with the digital version, let's move on to my physical portfolio. I got this A2 portfolio with rings to avoid being a mess in interviews. I would recommend this size because it can fit in most of your work and is transportable. Also, having rings means you can easily move things around to organize your presentation. Because all my original artworks are quite small, I stuck them to the A2 carded paper so it's sturdier and they don't move around. By the way, I used blue tack to stick them so I could easily rearrange them without damaging the work or the A2 sheets. This is basically the same as my digital portfolio, so I'm just gonna quickly go through it. I brought 3 sketchbooks with me to the interview. This Japan travel journal captured memories in an illustrated form. Through scrapbooking and sketching, I showed the ability to document a range of things in a visual form. this tiny one was for quick sketches. I used to bring it with me when I went outside and was using it to practice time sketches. Through urban sketching, I also showed that I paid attention to the surroundings and the environment. Last is my idea sketchbook. This is for random ideas and doodles. I only filled the first 10 pages when I did the interview, but the freedom to draw anything was like unlocking creativity and showcasing my thinking and presentation skills. That's it for my portfolio. I put a link for the Manchester-specific portfolio in the description box down below, and also check out my Instagram art account where you can find the full version of my Japan travel journal. I hope you found this video useful, and please comment down below if you have any questions about applications for architecture schools in the UK, or just university application in general, because I've done it twice. And I guess that's it for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.